Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Amps. Alright, now, if you've been subscribing and following the channel, which is Alien Guitar, ALIENGTR, you will know that I've been doing basically a series on guitar bass sounds. In other words, bass sounds created with guitar. And we tried everything from PAs, crossovers, and bass amps. Alright. And this is particularly useful for me because I do a lot of guitar loops done on the fly. And I emulate bass on guitar, usually using an octave pedal of some sort, you know. Either Electro-Harmonix Bass 9 or a bass octaver, that kind of thing. Okay, so recently we've gone over two bass amps. One was a huge Hartke HD150. And it's a combo bass amp, 150 watts, 15-inch bass speaker. Okay, and man, it is awesome. Just love that thing. Right, the bass sounds are just gigantic, huge. Then also got a Bassol F40. It's a Dean Bassol F40, little bass amp, right? 12-inch speaker, 40 watts, pretty decent. Now, between those two, from my limited experience, there's definitely something to said between a 15-inch and a 12-inch speaker. All right, now keep that in mind for later. Now, I mean, I did some research, you know, looked online and things, and one of the best rated bass amps, kind of the holy grail, right? I shouldn't say the holy grail, because there are some other amps that are right up there. But this particular one is very, very popular, let's put it that way. And that is the Fender Rumble series. Get ready to rumble! Right? The Fender Rumble series. Okay, especially the version 3, which is the newest version. And the reason is, one, they have great bass tones, right? And two, they're light, right? And I can't say that about the Hartke, or even the Bassol for that matter. They're both pretty heavy amp. Now the Hartke, I mean, it comes with casters, because it's really heavy. Okay, here's the one deal with the Fender Rumble. Because you could say, well, Dennis, why didn't you just get a Fender Rumble then? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're expensive. So they're really expensive. Now, just by chance, I happened upon something that I thought, wait a minute. This might be a great deal not to be passed up. And that would be a Fender Rumble 115 cabinet. In other words, it's a Fender Rumble. Get ready to rumble! Version 3, the newest version, right? Cabinet with a 15-inch speaker and a horn that you can defeat on the back with a switch. You can turn it on and off, or lower it by 6 dB, right? And I mean, and here's the deal, it's big, yes, but it's light. And it comes in at like 39 pounds or something. And when you've got side handles on each side, you know, hardly weighs anything at all, really. In any case, so I saw this ad for one, and it was local. Who knows? But then I looked online to see what the price of them are. And I mean, they're going for $400 easy. And that's not including tax or shipping, if they charge shipping. Some do, some don't. So, I mean, that's basically a $500 cabinet when it's all said and done. You know, maybe a little less, maybe $450, something like that, $475. So that's pretty expensive for just a cabinet. A cabinet is only the speaker, right? The bass amp isn't included. Right? You have to get a separate bass head. But it's one of those 15-inch speakers, bass speaker, right? As opposed to a guitar speaker, you know, that can't handle those frequencies. The 15-inch speaker, bass speaker, is designed to handle those low frequencies. And that's what makes, to me, a bass sound so great. So then I looked around and I said, okay, well, what about a used one? Right? And remember, these are pretty big, so shipping is very expensive. And I looked around and I saw one, the cheapest I saw was about $280, $290, something like that. Right? Basically $300. Plus shipping, plus tax. Ouch. And you know, and this is why, I mean, I'd really love a Fender Rumble bass amp, but just the expense of it, you know, they're quite expensive, really. You know, in any case, so they had this used cabinet. So anyway, I thought to myself, well, listen, if I get this cabinet, you know, not only can I use it with my existing bass cabinet, but I could get a bass head and get a really nice Fender Rumble. Get ready to rumble! Set up. Now the cabinet was used, right? It wasn't new. I think he told me he got it from Chicago Music Exchange, which is a really great store. I get stuff from them sometimes, and from Chicago, Illinois, of course. So anyway, well, I met the guy at a Kroger parking lot. Not the one nearby, a little further down. And I picked it up. Yes, I'm a proud owner of a Fender Rumble. Get ready to rumble! 1 by 15-inch bass cabinet. Wow. Something I wasn't expecting, quite frankly. You know, and I really like the sound of a bass sound through a 15-inch bass speaker, you know, from my limited experience with the Hartke, which also has a 15-inch bass speaker. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Alright, so take a look at this. Here it is. There's a pretty big cabinet there. Looks like it would weigh a ton, you know, but it doesn't at all. Right here now, these 4 things are, if you get a Fender bass head, it'll actually fit right there and be held on magnetically. Anyway, so there it is. Has a removable grill, right? And if you look on the side, you got these really nice metal side handles there. Alright, so there it is, and here's the back of it. So it's a closed back cabinet, and if we zoom in here, Fender Rumble 115, right? 300 continuous watts power rating, 600 watt program peaks. Impedance 8 ohm. Now here's something interesting. Right here, right there, you can actually turn the horn on and off, or minus 6 dB on the horn. And then next to it you have the inputs. And I guess you could plug in 2 inputs if you wanted to, but I would never do that. So anyway, there it is. in excellent condition. Man, I mean, this thing, maybe needs a swipe of a cloth. It's got a couple tiny scratches, like, I don't even see that. Yeah, right there. Probably clean that up, actually. So there it is. Now, let's see if it gets the MIDI seal of approval. All right, what do you think, MIDI? Look at that. What do you think? Pretty nice? Does it get your seal of approval? Wait. Yes, I think he likes it. Wow. It's very interesting that it has that kind of a blackface Fender look that a deluxe reverb, or I have a little Fender X2 cabinet, and I tell you what, it looks almost identical, except this one's obviously bigger, though. It looks about the same. What a great size, too. So there's MIDI. I think he likes it very much. All right, now listen, because it was used and because it was local, it was a real bargain. Now, granted, I've yet to try it, so we'll see, I guess. But so far, as far as the construction quality, seems really solid. It's in really great shape, I mean, just nothing to complain about so far. And I mean, the quality should be outstanding, really. The Fender Rumbles are always rated pretty high, so we'll see. And this could lead down the road, to a great Fender Rumble setup. Get ready to rumble! So we'll try it out and see. Alright, now I've got the Bassola amp on here. Little 40 watt with a 12-inch speaker. Playing the bass sound right there. Okay. And it has an external speaker output. So we're going to try it. Now next to it, take a look at this. There it is. 15-inch cabinet. Let's see if it makes a difference when I plug in the Fender tab into the Bassola. Now remember, the Bassola is only 40 watts. It's powering that 12-inch speaker that's built in. And now it's going to power the 12-inch speaker and the 15. Let's hear what it sounds like. The Fender. Let's plug it in. Wow. Listen to that. Now that sounds like a bass amp. When you add that 15-inch cabinet. You hear that? Wow. How cool is that? Wow. So again, I'll unplug it now. Hey, where'd that awesome bass go? Unplugged it, see? Listen to that. Wow. How cool is that? Oh my! This was unexpected. I'm sorry, but, when you plug it in and play just the bass solo, the bass is kind of weak. But my goodness, you plug in that 15-inch cabinet, and all of a sudden the bass is huge. And in fact, it reminds me very much of the Heart Key that has a 15. Right? I mean, listen to the bass amp here. This is the Bassola, 40 watt with a Fender. Okay. So that was unexpected. I did not expect that. So the little bassola, is only 40 watts. It works great. And it's great for kind of late night playing. But to get a big bass sound, kind of like the Hartkey, which is that 15-inch, 150 watt amp, right? Well, the Fender, when you plug that in, the cabinet gives you that kind of sound, And man, when you take it away, it's like, oh my goodness, where'd the bass go? And it's nothing against a little bassola, because remember, it's powering both. It just, you can hear a lot better with a 15-inch bass speaker, Now, I know that the Fender Rumble 100 is a little 12-inch speaker. It's kind of like the bassola in a way. And I've never actually tried one, so I don't know. But I would assume it's probably similar. Though it's got more wattage, though, it makes a big difference. I don't know for sure. So anyway, the 15-inch bass speaker is great. Cabinet, man, it does make a huge difference. Now, did I buy it to make the bassola sound better? No. No, in fact. Eventually, I'll probably get a bass head for it, or something like that, just because it's light, gives you that real big bass sound, wow, that is unexpected. So, and for my looping stuff where I'm emulating bass, if I just run a loop, whatever, create a loop, we'll try, I don't know, just have a huge reverb on it. And, man, that is just super. Just great, really. I'm really, really, pleased with the cabinet. Now remember, this was only 40 watts. It can handle 300, 300 watts continuous. I think a peak of like 600 watts. I don't know, but it could definitely handle, pretty decent size amp head, But I'll tell you what, it made that Bassola amp sound huge. Almost as big as the heart key there. And I've just gotten it, so I haven't really messed, with turning off the horn and things. Figuring out exactly, how I like it and things. And what I'm going to use it, which amp I'm going to use it with. And a guy told me he was playing guitar through it. I don't know. What I wasn't expecting is how puny the Bassola sounds without the 15-inch cabinet. That I wasn't expecting. And, which is fine because the Bassola, I use it quite often and it works just fine. When I'm doing loops and things, kind of late at night and things, I don't want a huge blaring bass, that would disturb the neighbors and rattle the walls and things, But boy, it awfully sounds really puny without the Fender cabinet. That I'm really shocked about. Now if I had a decent bass amp head, to go along with it, that'd be really great. And who knows, I may work towards that, and we'll see. We'll see. So far, though, I'm a definite believer in the 15-inch speaker for bass. I think it's really great. It's huge, big sound. And I was so surprised that when I hooked up the Fender to the Bassola, how close it sounded to the heart key. So I don't know if it's the 15-inch, or if it's the cabinet, the 15-inch speaker, or if it's the cabinet, or what have you. But it sounds a lot more similar. The Bassola sounds a lot more similar to the heart key when you hook up the Fender cab to it. I thought surely I'd be content with the, little 40-inch, right? Who needs 150 watts like that heart key, or a 15-inch bass speaker? But I'm telling you, man, what a difference, All of a sudden the bass sounds really big and full and realistic, is a good way of putting it. My bass emulation, I'm using the Electro-Harmonix Bass 9 pedal. Very cool pedal. But, any octave, can give you that kind of bass type sound. But, now, I don't know if it's just a Bassola, but I found the 12-inch speaker didn't really give you quite the depth and full bass sound of a 15-inch speaker. So very, very good though. Very good for my needs. Now I'm not quite done with the whole bass thing, but I'm integrating it into my guitar setup. I've got 2 guitar speakers and then a bass amp. Handle the low end, basically. Or in this case, it'll end up being a bass cabinet and a amp head. And while it may look huge, and you think, man, why would you buy something so big and things? It may look big, but let me tell you, it's really light. I mean, really light. It's surprising. It looks like it would weigh, my God, 150 pounds or so on, but it's nowhere near that. I think it's like 39 pounds, something like that. Alright, so very, very pleased there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna, use it and experiment with it and see what sounds best and that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm very, very pleased. It was well worth it. Yeah, highly recommend it. Man, especially the weight is just great on it. So easy to move around and things. Alright, very good. Hopefully next week we'll get into some more guitar related things. It is a guitar channel, not a bass channel. Anyway. Alright, very good. See you next time. Bye.